So, we are at a point where you can finish your beer and grab another coffee, and then we're going to move on to the next segment, unless our heroic fill-in Larry Crist rushes through the door, like with a briefcase in one hand, the other hand holding a hat, saying, "I'm here to read!" But
Larry doesn't wear hats.
I know, but don't you think he'd look good in one?
I thought so too, but he didn't.
My stalling works! This is one of the joys of running an event like this, is the sense of spontaneity and sheer panic. And why you get to watch me drink a beer in this corner. So please, give it up. He did not know he was reading until this morning, and so he decided to fill in. He's been published in places like Rattle, Your Hands, Your Mouth, read places like Cheap Wine and Poetry, and he's a very handsome man even without a hat. So please, give it up for Larry Crist.
Talk about cutting it close. This is an honor to be playing Theo tonight. I wear a special Couth Buzzard shirt. What do we got here? I just threw a bunch of stuff together. This is something I just got published in Clover, which is taking submissions now, if anybody's up for it. That's out of Bellingham. This is called Blame, a Partial List. First, I blame this awkward opening for which I have only myself to blame. I blame protocol, which says everything must have a beginning. I blame you for just sitting there and beat my chest because it is the only acceptable portion of my body I can beat in public, but it's early. Ask not for whom the blame tolls, all will unfold. Blame isms in Greek, Sisyphus in rock, Aristotle in his poetics, Rabelais' rant, Cervantes, Shakespeare, and everything anyone has ever written. Blame Gutenberg, Simon & Schuster, Grove Press, those who don't read and those who read too much into everything. Blame beings, magical, gaseous, and metaphorical, those who crunch fantastically false. Blame nations and Haitians, Cortez, Columbus, Custer. Blame the French, Dutch, British. Blame the president who carries the same blame as stained the one before. Blame power and power outages. Blame hip-hop, blame TV. Blame hip-hop, soul, country. Blame the FCC, long-playing LPs. Blame TV, blame YouTube and fast food. Blame the waitress. Blame that thing she forgot that took too long. Blame traffic and weather, whether or not it be fair. Blame God. Blame that which cannot blame back. Blame mom, blame dad, blame their divorce. Blame them just cuz. Blame their youth, their error. Blame society and the society it keeps. Write a poem. Blame that. Blame your writing teacher. Blame everyone who failed to stop you. Blame boredom and whoredom and substandard living standardly. Blame the church, blame Catholics, Jews, Christians, Mormons, Muslims, Hindus, Zoroastrians, Confucians, and your little Buddha too. Blame continental drift, whoever was at fault. Those continents should pay more attention. Blame cell phones and texting, blame teenagers, blame technology, blame city council, city management, underground overcost, blame the bridge for being up and that boat that sailed belowly too slowly. Blame the homeless. Blame and kick everything, especially those without legs. Blame Congress and cronies, back scratchers, palm greasers, midnight wheeler dealers, ankle grabbers, procrastinators, eager fellatiators, legislators, vloggers and bloggers, self-starters, latecomers, and those who show up on time with their own excuses. Blame emotions, hormones, high fructose corn syrup. Blame men and women and trannies in transition. Blame lubricants, flies in ointments, bees in bonnets, embedded saddle burrs, open-toed sandals, engine grit, wayward pebbles, blister splinters, static cling, errant ball bearings, lost marbles, waxy buildup, ripped nails, dull razors, cold sores, artificial artifacts, esoteric heirlooms, frisky fornicators, hyperactivity, and ghosts in the machine. Blame that smug mechanic at Jiffy Lube who said everything looked okay. Blame liberals and all windbag demigods, radio ranters, easy listening listeners, Muzak, NPR pledge drives, and supporting members like you and me. I blame the first joint I ever smoked and that final drink I had night before last. I blame Alan Smoot, who lived across the street and who I used to fight every Saturday afternoon because there was nothing else to do. There's lots of blame to go around. I'd like to blame everything I have so far failed to blame because blame seemed too easy and obvious, a cop-out, too damn blameworthy, like lawyers, for instance, or the 2010 Mariners, or the poems of John Donne. People who wear thick coats on hot days without sweating. Vegetarians, vulgarians, tobacco chewers, fishing lures. Special shout-out blame to the sun, moon, stars, and whomever said Pluto could no longer be a planet. I blame spirituality, central heating, indoor plumbing, penicillin, badly drawn cartoons, Republicans, and Ralph Nader. I blame every film ever made by John Wayne and John Ford, and those they made together I blame doubly. I blame Hope and Crosby, Clinton's second term, rising oil prices, and falling standardized test scores. I blame fluoride, lead in the pipes, in the paint, lead in the goalie's ass, which led to yet another tie, with four-star blame to the academy for which it stands. Scapegoats in the rough, genetics in general, fireworks, and the tall, dry grass, hot pants, fishnets, dominatrixes, and a general disregard for the importance of coasters in our society. I blame popsicles, pesticide, regicide, patricide, genocide on pharaohs, freons, pheromones, and a lack of leadership among our stolen elected officials, as well as the lyrics of Johnny Mercer, and all music featuring the accordion or bagpipes. Most of all, I blame the system for which it stands, especially the Masons and other not-so-secret societies whose names escape me, who knew or should have known and should accept the lion's share of blame, with lone exception to the prideless lion itself, hunted and harried, looking up from an eviscerated lamb with blood on its mane, its face and paws, corralled by corporate wolves, while introducing yet another lame-ass movie we've already seen, roaring twice and pleading forgiveness for having been born a beast. Thank you. This is what I get instead. But this is what I get instead. Is it any reason why I'm bitter, Justin? I give him another. Take that, I scream in my dream. Both of us hoping one of us wakes up soon. This is a brand new poem. This is not that one. This is brand new poem. Okay. This is called Little White Dog. This has a little violence in it too, but not quite as much. Little white dog. Without ever seeing it, I can tell it is little and white as it barks in the night and early morning as I attempt to sleep. Its shrill, unhappy yap fills my ear. Whenever anyone walks by between our place and theirs, this ballistic, vigilant barker pierces, dices, mutilates the evening's calm, trumps the auto drone, leaf blowers, garbage trucks, sirens, and so on. On it goes, this little sentry from its tiny yard where yaps, yaps, yaps. Curious as to what it defends, I walk by in daylight. It is quiet. A TV is on, and it looks like the its person, has lived there an eternity. The small yard is full of crap. It looks very sad and reeks of despair. I would really like to kill the little white dog, put it out of all our misery. Then one day it stops. There's no more barking. I listen for it. I'm glad it is gone, but I don't trust the quiet. I keep listening for it, this sound of it no longer there. Did someone else beat me to it? I don't know. It's as if my thinking may have killed it. I listen to all the other sounds in our less than quiet neighborhood, which this little white dog is apparently no longer a member of. I don't miss its harsh, sharp shriek, its hyper-alert insert into an already discordant night, but I wonder over its sudden departure, how it always seemed to find the worst times to bark, whenever I had just fallen asleep or was dreaming or had just finished making love, and was blissfully serene. It seemed to possess an uncanny insight as to when it could most effectively jar my consciousness. I was beginning to feel an odd respect for it. where I might have put on really shiny shoes before stomping it to death, or buying an extra tender cut of meat to fill with the finest shards of glass. But I was not prepared for it to just leave me like this. How dare the little white dog just leave without even giving me a little yap goodbye.
Do you feel like doing one more?
I could do one.
Okay, yeah, do one more.
Thank you. This is also not very long. A little bit of violence, a little bit of language. Oh well. This is a little bit of history. This is an anniversary of a dear friend of mine's birthday who died some time ago, and this poem kind of ties back into him, so that's why I thought of it today. This is called Shakespeare. Shakespeare sometimes gets a raw deal, accused of stealing scripts, plagiarizing his contemporaries and those preceding. The argument seems to be, or not to be, that he could not have known all he knew to write all that he did. The plays do tend to be uneven. Hamlet, King John, Comedy of Errors, the histories, the sonnets, the Rape of Lucrece. There was no shame in borrowing in his day. Originality was never the objective. Neither a borrower nor lender be may well have been a stolen line. There wasn't any money in publishing. The bard, who spelled his name no particular way, published little besides the sonnets in his lifetime. The play was a thing to fill the coffers. The word was written to be heard, to entertain the groundlings and not offend the box seats, to keep the turnstiles turning, the footlights burning, to please the virgin queen, and following her the queenish king. As the Spanish railed and sailed and flailed on the seas, and the French schemed and dreamed in cream-colored pantaloons, had not some anonymous actors gathered up their prompt books, we'd never have considered whether or not Will killed Marlowe. Rada would have devoted itself to other classic tedium. 1,000,001 actors would have placed their stamp upon other roles. Bartlett's quotations would be 1/8 of an inch thinner. And my late pal, Kent, who would never have climbed onto that rickety chair in Toby and Jack's and drunkenly screamed to any and all, "Shakespeare could suck my fucking dick!"